guys, what is up? This is another like vlog on the bed because I am 9 months pregnant, and honestly, like, I just love making videos. Like, you know what it comes down to is I really just love making videos. And sometimes I have absolutely nothing to say because, let's face it, my life has always and will always, and I mean this in the best way possible, is kind of boring. Like, I don't go out. I don't have a lot of friends. This has been my life all on YouTube. Now, it may seem like I'm interesting because I was causing a lot of drama and I have a big mouth and like all this stuff like that. Like, I kind of made myself seem interesting, but like in reality, it was like me alone eating nachos and popcorn in bed at 6 p.m. and like watching YouTube until I fall asleep at like midnight or whatever. And that's why I constantly make videos. But then I'm like, now I just like to make videos. Like, I'm not bored in life. I just like to make videos. But the problem is I don't do a lot. So I don't really know what to talk about all that often. But alas, it's the internet. And unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess there's so many ways you could look at it. You know, there's people who still like to talk about me. And again, I don't think of it as good or bad, right? There's some really awful, nasty videos out there, and you're just like, ew, this doesn't feel good. And, you know, is there good videos out there? There's some nice videos out there too. At the end of the day, right, like, yeah, you kind of want people to talk about you because otherwise, especially when you do social media for a living, otherwise people don't care, right? And my whole job is people caring about me, whether they care nicely for me or they care and want to see me like crash and burn. At the end of the day, they're both kind of the same thing, people caring about what you're doing in life, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of messed up. And that's why, like, I get why people step away from social media, and I get why people like leave completely, because it can be super toxic. And I guess I'm just one of those people who's just like so numb to it. And yeah, I guess if anything, it's like, it's helped me grow in some ways, and it's also just helped me become stronger, and it's helped me to like know how to overcome my own emotional triggers and triggers in general. So it's a love-hate, but like, I love the internet, and I love posting, and I love that people care about me, even though I'm 34 years old and I have a husband and my daughter's about to be born any day. Like, I still feel sometimes like that insecure little girl who just wants attention, who just wants attention. And now, you know, I don't seek it negatively, or I don't feel like I have to put on a show, but it still feels good when people care. Like my ASMR channel, there's so many people that are like, oh my God, thank you. Like, you helped me sleep, you helped me with this. And honestly, like, that makes me feel good, that I feel like I'm doing something for someone. And in the past, I was like, well, I'm entertaining people, so it makes me feel good, right? But then when I was entertaining people and it like wasn't making me feel good, I was just like, okay, that's not for me. But it's like this whole new wave of like having to find myself, because the internet kind of sent me into a tailspin, and like I had to hit rock bottom like a few times to work on myself. Like, now in this weird way, I found this new wave, and like, who knows how long it'll last, but like, I'm so grateful for right now, this ASMR wave that I love, and I'm expanding, and I'm gonna do more with. It's not just that channel. There's like a lot of things coming up with ASMR that I'm involved in, which I'm really excited about. And so it's like really opened up this really cool new channel for me, new way for me, not only career-wise and income and all that stuff like that, but like truly like helping people and helping myself. Like, I feel like it calms me down. I feel like it gives me purpose. I feel like re-inspired and creative with it. So it feels good. All that to say, let's just talk about the drama of this channel. You know what it is? Because here's the thing, like I said, I don't really care, right? At the end of the day, things hurt. I don't know anyone who will say like, if someone calls you ugly, it doesn't hurt, or if they like, you know, I don't know, just point out things that you're insecure. Of course, like, it hurts. But at the end of the day, like, do I care? No, because if I cared, I'd like be offline, or I'd hide myself completely, or whatever, you know? But I've done a couple of these vlog on a bed videos that do well, and I thought, you know what, let's just address some things that people are interested in. Most of it is like, I just ignore it because like, honestly, it doesn't feed me. But this is something that kind of, it doesn't bother me, but it's again something I just feel like I like need to explain and like get off my chest, and like maybe someone somewhere will hear it. Because like, look, half of these people are trolls, right? And the other half, like, I think are kind of like either really young people or just really like naive people that just believe like everything they see on the internet, and like I don't know. So I'm hoping it hits more of the people who are just like naive or like young and like just don't really know these things, and maybe that'll like enlighten some. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna call this video, like my lives, because I feel like, you know, the one thing I used to see, I don't know, I mean, maybe it's still out there on drama, is like, oh, you know, she never owns up to her lies or takes accountability. And I'm always like, what are they talking about? So I kind of gauged what people were talking about to kind of see. There's like a Twitter or something, or TikTok, and it's like contradictions of Trish. Okay, so there is difference. Okay, there's a lot of differences when it comes to lies, contradictions, hypocritical, and also just maturing. Okay, there's like a scale, right? And people tend to just lump all that into lying, right? Okay. I think because I have been so open and like about this, like when I was younger, like I would lie, and I would lie a lot, but it was never about people or things that could get people in trouble. Like that, I just never did. When I talk about my lies, like I do, like I would say my dad was really rich, which I talk about this a lot. I think I manifested it for him because my dad wasn't rich at the time, but I'd always say, oh, my dad's rich and he lives in California in this big house and I'd have gold tattoos. I just remember these like lies I would tell the kids at school, or that I had like a twin sister, or just like something, like my twin sister's name was Trixie, and like just kind of like weird stuff. And it was bad. I don't know what that was. Like I never delved into that into therapy. I like to say it's like a disassociation or just like escaping or just boredom or something like that. But like, again, it was never like, I never hurt anyone that way. And same thing with my trolling. Like I was never like, let me just throw someone randomly under the bus that like has no truth to it. Because I think that's like the worst, even back as a kid, like I just thought that was like the worst karma ever. And I remember it happened to me one time where I said that a grandparent was ill and that grandparent became ill and passed away. And honestly, since like that one incident, I was just like, oh my God, like there's power to your words. And yes, that could have been a coincidence, and it more than likely was, but I just knew like that from that moment, like don't ever speak something like that before speaking things into existence or saying stuff like, or just putting that out there. I don't know how to explain it when you're a kid, but so all of that to say, like, yeah, I was open about it at one point in my life, and then people were like, well, she was then, she is now, you know, whatever. And there's just a lot of also just people, again, confused. There's a few that I have seen lately, which is like, again, I saw this one video, and I see like clips on TikTok if I'm seeing a video. Like I don't ever click, well, I don't really click on a lot of YouTube videos, period. But it was like TikTok. And there was one where it's like, I think it was like contradictions of Trish or something. I don't know. Shout out contradictions of Trish. I think that's your name. I don't know. But basically it was like Trisha lying about something else yet again. And it was me like this year saying like, I don't care if people think I'm like rich or poor, like whatever people want to think, if they think I'm broke, whatever, like think what you want to think. And then it was like me in 2018, like having a conversation with like friends I was with at the time, being like, I could never, one time I sat on coach and someone took a picture of me and it was so embarrassing because now everyone's gonna think I'm broke and blah, blah, blah. Because I did care for so long if people, like what people thought of me. I wanted to be this rich YouTuber and I made a lot of money, but there is also a difference between making a lot of money and being rich, right? You can make money and spend it all and you're not rich. At the end of the day, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, whether I was making like $100,000 a month or like $10,000 a month, or you're literally living like scraping for food, like, you know, whatever it is, if I was living paycheck to paycheck for a large portion of my YouTube career, and it would fluctuate based on what I was making and stuff like that, because I did care so much what people thought of me. And like, you know, and so when that whole thing came out, like, oh, she just rents houses, like I started to feel self-conscious about myself, because I was like, yeah, I should have by now, by most people's standards, making $100,000 a month, which has been pretty standard for me since I was like 24, you know, like own a house, multiple properties. Like I should have been doing that while other YouTubers were doing that, and I wasn't. I was spending it on, music videos, but that's not really showing my wealth. But like cars, I'd always had 3 cars at a time, and, you know, purses, and I don't even know what I spent stuff on, just a lot of crap. And let me tell you, now we're cleaning out the house and the storage units and stuff, and I have so much crap, and we're selling it on Poshmark. So we're coming full circle. And honestly, like selling stuff on Poshmark in the past would be like, wow, people are gonna think I'm going broke, like I'm selling my clothes or whatever like that. But like, hey, whatever, like I have to get rid of them. You know, my mom helps me out, makes some cash, whatever. And I've always said this, I feel like, especially in the past few years, I've been really transparent that like, you know, I'm not like wealthy where I'm just like buying houses and yachts and some, like I make good money. I used to have trouble managing money. I still don't have like the greatest management skills, but like I have my husband, and, you know, I have like an accountant and stuff that kind of helps me stay on track. But there's, back to the lie of it all, it's like me in 2018 caring if people think I'm rich, and then me now saying like I don't care. That's not a lie. That's changing your mind or growing and maturing. And I feel like that's just like a lot of these things is like, okay, like I can change my mind about a lot of things. And trust me, I have changed my mind a lot about things. And that's one of them, because yeah, now at 34, I really don't care like what people think. And like, hey, everyone has struggles with something and money, and I've never been good with money and stuff like that. So people want to think that, they can think that. I try and be transparent about it, because I just, I don't know, back in the day, I would really try to flaunt that I did have money, and I wanted people to think that I was just like so bougie and first class and whatever. I still really like first class because coach, I just get uncomfortable, mainly because I'm fat and it has nothing to do with anything else. But, people splurge on different things and whatever. But, now with like a baby on the way, I'm more cautious about my money, and like, I'm not going to be doing music videos, although I would love to, but yeah, I did care. Now I don't. It's not a lie. It's literally just called growing up. And kind of on that same note, I see the other one is like, oh, she better not have a nanny, or the family channel one too. So we can talk about both of these too, because I feel like, why not? This video is about lies, and people want me to address things, and I won't address, I'm gonna just tell you right now, I'm not gonna address like, some people take it too far and they really just are like, she lied about this like serious things that happened to me in my childhood, and where I've said people's names and stuff like that. Like, I wouldn't say that if I wasn't able to be backed up, and like it has, and people will swear, and people will say like, oh no, that didn't happen, and stuff like that. It's like, anyways, I'm not gonna get into that, because like that's more problematic. I'm trying to be like lighthearted, but when people will like insist something didn't happen to you or something like that, and it's just a whole other thing. And look, here's the thing, like people remember things wrong, remember things that I never, I didn't with this certain things, and people just swear like, oh, this didn't happen, how could this happen, blah, 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 blah. I've disclosed information, I've like kept information private, like throughout the years, I've have said one thing because I wasn't comfortable talking about it, and then when I was comfortable talking about it, I said it, you know what I mean? So I can see that. But stuff straight up where I'm like, this happened and whatever, and people are like, okay, you're a liar, I'm not gonna address that. And then stuff obviously where I'm like, oh, well, I didn't want to talk about it when I was 21 on YouTube, just starting out, versus now. I mean, take that for what you will. Again, I accept wholeheartedly that people just like don't believe me, and that's like fine. Honestly, like it's fine. Like, I'm making this video because that is such a recurring, Trisha lies again about this, and it'll be something so silly like what I'm about to talk about now, which is like nannies or family channels. Well, let me just cash in on this too. Everyone's like, another lie, another this, and it's just like, oh my gosh. Or like if I was like, oh, I never had a hot dog, and then someone found a video like one time of me eating a hot dog for like literally a skit. I was like, I don't know, I don't keep up with it. But the greatest thing is the internet right now is my fact checker. So that's why I always say now videos, I'm like, well, someone somewhere will find a clip of me eating something when I said I haven't tried it before. Because again, that's not lying. That could just be also bad memory. If I don't remember something, or if I didn't see something, I don't know. I used to be on a lot of drugs too, but that's a whole other thing. I forgot where I was going. Okay, let's get back to the family channel thing and the nanny thing. So again, a lot changes, especially when you become a parent. And I am a parent. My baby will be here in a few weeks, but I have a baby inside me now, and a lot has changed, let me tell you. The way I eat, the way I think, the way I try and do things for myself now, like, oh, light bulb, who would have thought that would change? But like, I really just try and be more self-sufficient. I look up things online, like doing my own shit around the house and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, I'm having a baby coming, like, let me figure out how to do stuff for myself. I have an amazing husband that like helps me with so much, but I need to figure out how to be, how to be an adult. So a lot of the things have changed, and obviously my just perception on things. I think the people who have the most to say about parents and parent shaming are people who don't have kids. And once again, as I always say, I throw myself under the bus. I was one of these people, right? When you don't have kids, you have the most to say about how other people raise their kids. Obviously, there's people who have kids that still mommy shame or whatever like that. And when you don't have kids, it's so easy to be like, oh my God, I would never do that with my kid, or blah, blah, blah. Because like, yeah, and I don't have a physical baby here, but already my mind has changed so much about things. I used to say like, oh my gosh, like people that like have nannies or something are like, oh, like why would you do that? Why would you even have a kid if you're gonna do that? You know what I mean? And then, someone put it in perspective for me, where it's like a daycare situation. Like, people have to send their kids to daycare because they have to work. Both parents have to work. And I'm like, I was so just like in my own world where I was just like, why would anybody do that? Because when I think of nannies, I think of like rich people and stuff like that. And just like, they stay at home while like someone else watches their kids for them or whatever like that. And I was like, okay, one, even if that's the case, none of my business. But two, it's like, people need help, whether it's like mentally or like, just with a baby, or people need to work, people need to work and eat. Like I said, even if people just want their time, again, who is that for me to judge, right? I don't have my baby yet, but like, yeah, I can already feel like, okay, am I going to have like a me day? And then some people might go in the comments right now and be like, well, there is no me day when you have kids, but it's like, mental health is such an important thing. And like talking with my therapist about being pregnant and having a baby and just dealing with my mental health through all of this, and he's been so wonderful and helpful, is like when the baby actually comes and like, will I still feel like myself? Will I still be able to do this? You know what I mean? Like, and everyone has a different path, but I was so quick to judge. It's like, oh, if you have a nanny, like that's so lazy. Like you're gonna have someone else raise your kids. Like and not realizing that was like such a privileged way of thinking, which is like so ironic because I thought they were like the privileged one. But when people put it in the daycare perspective, which usually is not looked on as such a bougie thing, I was like, oh, right, because people have to work, but just like, anyways. So all that to say, like, we're really going to try without a nanny, because I didn't, or, babysitters for that matter. I didn't love my babysitters. I didn't love that aspect. I had kind of trauma with that. But I'm not unrealistic about it either. It's like if there's an overwhelming time or something, I'm lucky that both my husband and I work from home and we both have really flexible jobs. But I know not everyone is that lucky. So I like, again, that's like that privileged perspective. And even the people who are lucky are luckier than me, who can just have 24/7 nannies, that who knows what they're going through. Do you know what I mean? So my perspective has changed. Like I said, I'm still like, in my head, I'm still like, I want to be the only one to like be with my baby. But at the same time, like, I'm realistic about like looking out for my mental health and like obviously my relationship to our marriage and just making sure everything like works together. And I think with parenting in general, it's really opened my eyes. One, there is so much shaming, and I'm like embarrassed that I was ever like a part of that, because not only stuff you guys saw online, but like behind closed doors, I was like one of those people too that was just very like, okay, that kid, whatever. And I'm just like so the opposite of that in every sense of the word. Like I will never look at a parent or anyone and like judge them again, because it's like, there's just so much more than just having a kid and doing your best, there's a lot that goes into it and a lot that changes. And like I said, I would never even judge, and that's not like lying. That's again, maturing or becoming a parent or changing perspectives. And same thing with the family channel, although it's kind of silly because it's like I haven't even posted anything yet. I have this channel, the Paytas Hackman family channel, and I should just call them the Paytas Hackmans because I don't know, my husband was vlogging and I really like his vlogs and he's still doing it. So I thought, oh, it would just be like fun, better at like filming stuff. And I just thought like, oh, it's fun because like it'll be something we both do, because he's so creative with like video and stuff. Like, I mean, he's like the mastermind behind all my ASMRs, like the green screen. He always did. He always had really good video setups and stuff. And he's good at like editing like vlogs and putting music. Like he helps me with all my routines, because you guys know I never even knew how to put music in anything. I was just really, really bad. Much less use a green screen. It's simple, but like it wasn't for me. So, I was like, oh, it's the Paytas Hackman like family channel because we're a family. But then everyone's like, oh, family channels and whatever. And no one has even seen anything with me. And like, I don't even want to like touch into like what I think about family channels, because again, I think that's some sort of shaming. And again, a lot of times it comes from people who don't have kids. I saw someone on today on TikTok being like, if you show your kids for content, that's 100% exploiting them. And I think there's levels. And here, look, when I said I didn't like family channels, I don't like family channels. And this is just my opinion. I am literally not shaming anyone else, because do what you gotta do or what you feel right as a parent. But I couldn't imagine like putting my child's like medical stuff out there if something happens to them medically, if, using them for clickbait, like falling into a tank, or I don't know, something like that feels weird. Like when the thing is like centered around them, or the pranking ones don't even start on that. When someone's like, crying to see how my baby will react, it's like, oh my God, like the trauma, right? But again, that's me speaking, because I feel like I've had like trauma, and I feel like I've had dealing with all that when I was like a kid. So it's just like a lot. But, and I don't know how to even answer this, because I don't know how I'll feel. Will I show? I'm like, yeah, initially I'm like, yeah, I'll show my baby, I'll be so proud. But like, yeah, what age is it? It does not feel right. I think it's all about feeling. And of course I share my whole life. But so I see that, and I'm just like, oh, it's like, she's lying. She has a family channel, but she hated family channels. It's like, oh my God. But again, it's all part of like, to me, this stuff is kind of the game of the internet and people trying to make a buck, or people just kind of bored in their own lives, which I get all of that. I've seen some that say I lied about my due date from the beginning because I was drinking on my honeymoon, which I wasn't. There was always virgin. The whole staff knew that I was pregnant. I didn't drink before getting pregnant, so I don't know why people think like I would be drinking now. It's just like saying I got lips and Botox. My lips are stuff like this. The Botox, like I obviously need it. And yeah, I never drank before pregnancy. I had like champagne at my wedding. And then I think they said in Hawaii. In Hawaii, I didn't know I was pregnant. I found out I was pregnant January 12th. I filmed the video. That's when I knew we were New Year's Eve over there. And I did not know I was pregnant. So, and that was like the one time like at my weddings when I drank, because I just don't drink. I don't like alcohol. And that's never been my thing. There was another one where, oh, she looks high in that thumbnail. It's like literally me with no makeup, just like holding chicken. And I was like, okay, once again, I didn't really smoke before. Like, I mean, maybe I went through phases with people or something but it just never did anything for me. So I was just like, so sometimes you're just like, okay. And like I mentioned in a video before, some people just totally reach and make up stories. I've had the craziest stories made up about me. Like I mentioned in a past video where someone's like mentioned this guy that came over after Moses would leave when we were dating, and they had this whole backstory. They even had a guy's mugshot, like literally never heard of this person, nothing. And they just made up this story. And then those people, you're like, okay, that's like, you're kind of nuts. And then there's people, of course, I think like I lied about, like I'm still lying about my pregnancy, but from the beginning. And I'm like, well, you know, I've done a lot of trolling, but I've never trolled about like a pregnancy before. So especially like announce like I'm pregnant, you know what I mean? So I was just like, okay. And some people still swear. Some people still swear. Just like, sorry, is there a snap bubble coming up? Maybe, I don't know. This lighting is actually not that good. My makeup's a little wonky today. I kind of did it like with literally 5 minutes. It's not a filming day. We had a Zoom for something and I had my makeup on and I was like, okay. But yeah, my due dates change. That's the other thing too, is like due dates change. And I'm like, oh, she lied about this so she could cover her drinking. Due dates change and they're so not accurate. Our due date has changed. And then even so, that due date, right? There's 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after. And again, I even feel like these are young people or people who just like never been pregnant before. I see this stuff sometimes and I'm just like, and again, like, I guess I'm addressing this because it's like so, some is just like, you just have to like let it roll off. If I have to like address every little thing, it's like, it would just waste all my energy. But hey, I had the energy today. So I was just like, let me just talk about what I see and this kind of stuff, which is just kind of whatever. But, and then there was one final thing is the Demi Lovato thing, right? Like, you know, people again find a clip of her saying, oh, I was 17, and you know, Will Rama was like, no, you know, I don't want anything to do with you. And then she turned 18 and obviously started dating. I don't know their story. I don't know their situation. And do people lie? Yes. And that sucks. It sucks, especially when it is about something so serious, right? But like this situation, you know, you could be protecting that person at the time. You could be protecting yourself. There's just, I know I've said situations that weren't true because I was trying to protect myself or someone else, right? Especially when you're young, you think if you date someone, okay, I'll speak for myself. Like dating someone at 17, dating someone who's 42 at 17, or, you know, having, you know, whatever. Like you think you'll get in trouble because that's what I was always told. It's like, okay, well, you were also part of this illegal exchange, you know what I mean? So you get kind of scared to talk about stuff, or you like protect yourself. Like, oh, I didn't lose my virginity until I was 18 or something, right? You say that stuff, or, you know, working in a strip club until I was 18, like just because you want to protect yourself, because you never know what you say online. Like for me, I always thought like, well, if that was a crime I committed, I could be arrested at any time. Now there's video footage of me saying that, you know what I mean? So you can be protecting yourself or whatever. I think overall, this whole like lying police or people trying to catch people in lies, like, is not really beneficial for anyone, right? Like if there is a serious situation, right? You take it to court sometimes not. And it has to be dealt there. And then there's proof and there's receipts and all that. Sometimes there's not. And I just think like it's more dangerous to just like accuse, because people are on both sides, right? Aside from Demi Lovato, it's like, oh, well, you know, obviously she was saying that because she was like, you know, young or protecting or whatever, or she was saying that because she was lying or whatever. It just doesn't benefit anyone, the speculation. And it's just, again, talking about other people's like drama is just like, I don't know, bad vibes. It's been bad vibes for me. If it's not bad vibes for you and you can just like talk and dish it out, then good for you. But let me tell you, as a former troll, as a former hater, as a former judger of people's lives, like it does not feel good. at the end of the day, even if you're making that buck and you're trolling and you're making these videos for people, like it all catches up to you. And at the end of the day, like it will never really go away. So if you're a hater, even if you're gonna be reformed in the future, like it'll be out there forever. And that negativity does leave an imprint on you. I've tried really hard just for myself to change like spiritually in the way I think mentally. And you know, it helps. Like I've forgiven myself, right? Like, which is really hard to do. It's like a lot harder to do, to forgive yourself than to forgive others. And you know, for me, it's just all about my mind. Because sometimes I will go back and, you know, you start thinking like, I deserve this because I did this, I did this, I did this. And I really do feel like you can do a reset if you reset your mind and your body and spirit and really make those changes, which is it's hard, it's difficult. But I feel like I've done a pretty good job. And again, if no one else sees the change, like it's helped me tremendously. And I do think this gets really like high level, like spirit in the sky here, but you know, once I was able to mentally get a hold of myself, my thoughts, my feelings, not judge myself, not judge others for real, the one thing I wanted my whole life, which was to have a baby, came about so quickly, months after me just clearing and just resetting my brain, body, heart, soul. And to me, that wasn't like a coincidence. That wasn't like, you know, by chance. Yes, it's a miracle. And yes, I do think it was with the right partner and stuff, but it really was like, I've been with my husband for 2 years, and we've tried a good year of that time, a little more, you know, trying to conceive, and it never worked. And so all of a sudden, like once I was like working on myself and like really truly changing, like I was like blessed with this gift. On that other note too, the big shame is people who, like I said, people who shame people who come out with like their stories or whatever like that. But also people who shame people about, like, for me, or lie or say that I'm lying about my infertility. That to me is like crazy, because like no one knows my doctor, no one knows my status, no one knows that. And that's why it's like so frustrating. Like it's so, in that aspect, it can be frustrating, because it's like, wow, this was like a story that like I wanted to share. And I feel like I've talked about it for years. Like this is not something that just came out of the blue. I was actually infertile all these years. I've talked about this for years. I've talked about getting into HSG tests before. I've talked about what doctors say, like why it was scarred, why my tubes were blocked. I've gotten the HSG and it didn't work. Like I've talked about this so many times. And so I was like, this is a story that's like so, fertility problems are very serious. It's another thing like pregnancy. It's another thing like anything, like death, cancer. I remember my mom had cancer. People said that I was just like, oh, like, see, this is when I like my head, oh my God, my neck just cracked. Vecna. Oh, sorry. We were watching behind the scenes of Stranger Things 4. I started out not liking Stranger Things 4, and I'm kind of obsessed because I kind of like love Jamie Campbell Bower, the guy who plays Vecna. Kind of live for it. And so I was watching them all get like strung up. And it's kind of like makes it a little less scary, because trust me, it's scary. For me, it's scary. But watching behind the scenes. Anyways, I'm digressing. But I think, again, that was me like disassociating from this. Like people saying my mom was lying about her cancer, even though we'd like go to her surgeries. My mom would show her like mastectomies, like crazy. But fertility, I take very seriously. And I was so like excited to share my pregnancy, because I like still to this day, I will have a conversation with my husband. Like, I cannot believe that this happened. I cannot believe that I got pregnant. Like, I don't believe it. Like, it's so crazy. I'm thankful for it, but sometimes I'm just like, whoa, like how did that happen? That's like, it's a miracle. It's like truly a miracle. So when, again, people are like, oh, she lied about the infertility. It's like, how people like think they have the authority, they have the knowledge. Like they were there when I was 13 and they're inside my ovaries telling me like, they're not producing, do ovaries produce? I don't know. Whatever's not producing, eggs don't produce, whatever. It's just a lot. So that's my little take on lying I wanted to share with you guys, because I know people, like so many people just get accused of like lying now. It's like so crazy. And it does get dangerous. Like I said, there are things where people will accuse me, oh, it's Trisha doing this, it's Trisha, whatever. Like for other people, and I'm like, you know what? I don't care. With all due respect, I don't care about anyone else but myself right now. So I do take it a little bit, like it's a little bit offensive, and it's also scary when people be like, oh, I think it's Trisha, I think it's this. And it's like, I'm just trying to stay in my own lane. You know, I'm really trying to stay in my own lane, but like then it gets to this part where you're like speculating and you're accusing other people of starting and all this stuff like that. And it's like, I know. And like I said, I see other people, just even people who like don't have followings or just small followings on TikTok, people just like doing these things or contradictions or whatever. And at the end of the day, like human beings are just contradictions by nature. Like people contradict themselves all the time. People are hypocrites by nature, right? Say one thing and do another. That's, I think, everyone I've ever met is pretty hypocritical, right? Including myself. I'm not about that. But yeah, and I think that's not even by choice. You just, you really want to be one way, and sometimes you want to be somewhere, but you're just here and you're like, okay, well, this is what I'm going to preach, but like it's going to take me a minute before I can practice that. And that was me for many years. It's me now sometimes still. And I don't think it comes to a place of like malice or anything like that, but there is very big differences between lying and changing your mind, okay? Lying and growing. I don't know. Anyways, that is all I had to say about that. I can't wait to get my hair done. You can see our little cute little play thing we just set up over there. We have a bassinet being set up too, but we have a lot yet to do. Not a lot. I mean, we have her nursery and stuff set up, but we want to put her little, that like little white dot thing on the camera like moved. I thought it was an orb. I was like, oh. Anyways. Okay, that's it. I don't know. I had makeup on and I was about to, let's take it off for the day, but maybe I'll film my nighttime routine. Kind of had a long morning. We went to the doctor. We did our little Zoom thing, grocery store. Maybe I'll do a nighttime routine. I've been doing I'm like, okay, now that pregnancy's coming to an end, I'm like, maybe I should do some pregnant videos. I feel like I haven't done that many, but maybe I have. I don't know. That's it, y'all. I have 2 episodes left on Stranger Things 4. We're a little behind as always. And yeah. All right. That's it. Let me know anything you want to say in the comments below, because honestly, I'm open to it all. And at the end of the day, I'll say this: whatever you think of me is you're right. Okay, just take it for that. I will not argue. I will not combat you. And honestly, perception's reality, right? If you perceive me one way, then that's the reality for you. And I can't change it. I'm exhausted to change it. I love when people come around and be like, you know what? I used to think this, and now I really like you. I see a different side of you. I see the growth. And like, that's cool when it happens naturally. But like I said, if you have still negative thoughts after this video, you still think I'm full of honky do, I don't know what that is. That's your prerogative, and I support. And I know that probably makes people mad, or they think I'm faking it, but like, I'm here, you're watching. I don't know. It is my job at the end of the day to entertain, and I love it, and I'm thankful for it. So there's that. All right, guys, I love you. I really do. Thank you for supporting this channel. Everything I know will change once my baby's here in so many ways, for the better, but I can't even imagine. I'm trying to like organize it, but at this point I'm like, no, let it all go. Whatever comes and happens as the baby's here, we flow, we adjust. That is the circle of life. That is my spiritual teachings, is everything's a flow. We let it flow. Everything will be good. As long as we feel good, everything's good. You know what I mean? If it feels right, we're right. We're on the right path. That's how I like to think. All right, guys, I love you so much, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Unless there's a baby here, then I don't know, the baby will be here next video. Bye, guys.